Hi, I want to talk about your thesis that you're going to be doing in this MS in Org Psych program. And right now, it's still really far away, but it's good to start thinking about it. My name is Dave Dunitz, and I'm one of the full-time professors here at the MS in Org Psych program at Azusa Pacific University. And I teach courses like stats and research methods, and I'm an advisor for a lot of people on their theses. So I want to just talk to you a little bit to get you thinking about your thesis and to maybe demystify it a bit. So the question I want to ask, what is an MS in Org Psych thesis? What is this big project that you're going to be doing at the end of this program? And there's three concepts in the title of this that I want to focus on. First of all, it's a Masters of Science. It's the word organizational and the word psychology. And when we understand these, that will cause us to, that'll give us a better idea of what a thesis is. So let's talk about this Masters of Science. That's the name of the degree that you're earning, but also you are to become a Master of Organizational Science, which means that what you're learning needs to be based on evidence. Now, the way that we get evidence is by doing research, and the way that we present research is by writing up things like theses and journal articles. And your thesis is basically going to be the equivalent of a journal article, or at least the form will be pretty similar to it. Now, what do I mean by a journal article? Let me bring up a tool here that you might find very useful. To find journal articles, peer-reviewed journal articles written by scientists, reviewed by scientists, you can go to the APU library and use the databases there. But a lot easier way of doing it is to use Google Scholar. So the way that you can find Google Scholar is to search to Google Scholar, and it'll come up with scholargoogle.com. Now, it works just like Google. And what you need to do is you can put in some topic related to organizational psychology or anything else, and it'll give you a list of the peer-reviewed journal articles that have been written on it, sorted by, does it have the words in the title, and how many people have cited it. So suppose that you're interested in work engagement. That's how excited people get about their work. That's a real hot topic in organizational psychology because it predicts so many things real well. So I will put work engagement in the search bar, and I will click it, and it will give us a lot of articles, and it'll prioritize articles that have work engagement in the title. And over here, we've got links. And if there's a link here, that means that you're able to access that full article or maybe even a book sometimes. So here we've got work engagement from some encyclopedia. We don't have access to that encyclopedia. But here we've got work engagement by Schofelli and Salanova, 2007. It's been cited a lot, 1,092 times. And somebody has posted it online, and we could click there and get that. Here, this one's been cited over 3,000 times. So this is like one of the main articles on engagement by Backer and Demarudi. And we can either go for a direct PDF. If I click on this, what is that going to do? That's going to give me a PDF, and I click on that, and sure enough, I got let me bring it over here. I got the PDF with just one click there. It was probably either Backer or Demarudi who posted it on ResearchGate. A lot of the times, though, and for most articles, you'll have to go through the APU library full text finder. And if I click there, that will take me to the APU library, and it'll give me a bunch of possible links. And generally, you want to click the first one. I will go there, and it'll ask me to log on. It'll ask you to log on once a day. And we use a system called Open Athens. And it downloads it, and I open it. And sure enough, here is the same article direct from the publisher on work engagement. And we've got a technical journal article there. All right, so that's how we use Google Scholar. But the first time that you use Google Scholar, you're not going to have APU Library full text finder links. You need to tell Google Scholar that you have an APU Library account. And the way that you do this is you go up to this hamburger here, the options, and you go to settings, and then you go to library links. And this will you tell what libraries you have access to. So you'll just put in Azusa and click, and it'll give you the choice Azusa Pacific University, and you'll check that. Now I also have access to Claremont libraries. That's why I have Claremont colleges, and this Open WorldCat, everybody has it. But you want to make sure that you're connected to the Azusa Pacific Library and press save. And then whenever you search something, if they have it in the APU library, we'll get an APU library link on the side there. All right, so that's how you can access journal articles, and your thesis is going to be very similar to a journal article. You're going to produce original research or semi-original research. It doesn't have to be 100% original. It can be similar to other people's research. This is a master's thesis. Most of you will be doing this degree in about 2 years. It's not a doctoral dissertation where you might spend 8 years on it. But you should generally do something that's original, and it will be research, and you will publish your results. Even if they're not significant, you'll still publish them. Now, the Master's of Science degree also has a focus on quantitative research. That means we're going to measure things with numbers. We're not just going to interview people or go around describing things. We're going to actually measure concepts like work engagement or organizational justice or organizational commitment. All these different concepts that we're going to talk about in the OrgPsych program, almost all of them, we can measure them quantitatively. And that means we can do what's known as hypothesis testing. We think something's true, we come up with some we come up with a hypothesis, and then we collect data to see if that hypothesis is supported. And so for your thesis, a major part of your thesis will be, first of all, understanding the concepts you're interested in. Then you'll come up with a thesis, and then you will figure out how to collect data to support that hypothesis. If it's true, you'll collect data, you'll analyze it, and then very importantly, your Master of Science thesis is going to be application oriented. You're not going to just collect data to analyze it and to support a hypothesis. You're going to do it because it's going to have some implication in an organizational setting, and you will write about that in your thesis as well. So that's basically the form of your thesis, like a journal article, 20 to 25 pages. So as you go through journal articles in this program, constantly look at the form, constantly look at how they conducted this study, how they collected data, because that'll point you in the direction of what you'll be doing. So that's the first concept to look at to understand your thesis, is the idea of a Master's of Science. Secondly, we're studying organizational psychology. Now, what is psychology? Psychology is a study of how people think, feel, and behave, what they do. So it's basically everything that people do. If you think about it, those are the main things that we do in life, are think, feel, and behave. And so your research will be looking at the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors of people in organizational contexts, and especially how the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors of one person affect the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors of others in organizations. So we'll be emphasizing the social aspect of um, organizational psychology. So you need to have a good grasp of what psychology is, and that's what you will measure and make hypotheses about in your thesis, is some things concerning how people think, feel, and behave. And then the final word we're going to concentrate on is organizations. You should have a good idea of what an organization is. There's 3 necessary components to an organization. First of all, there has to be a mission. There has to be something that uh, the organization is trying to do. Maybe the organization is trying to make money, or maybe they are going to say it more specifically that they're trying to make the best hamburgers in the world, or they're trying to feed a hungry nation, if you want to get a little poetic about it. Or for APU, I think our mission statement is to create Christ-centered scholars and practitioners, or something like that. But there's some purpose to what we're doing. We're not just doing things randomly, but an organization needs to be doing something intentionally. The second component for an organization is that there needs to be people. If you don't have people, you can't have an organization. You can't just have a document. That's not going to create an organization. You need to have people who are members of the organization. And so typically that starts off with a founder, and then people that the founder gets to either volunteer or hire. And the organization will grow in order to complete its mission. Now, when you've got more than one person involved, there has to be some type of decision-making structure, some way of making decisions, either maybe this hierarchy where you've got a person in charge and then below them are supervisors and other employees. Maybe there's principles by which the organization makes decisions, but something to give the organization structure in order that for it to make decisions. Okay, so those are 3 concepts that will help you better understand what your thesis in organizational psychology will be. But now, how do you choose a topic? Well, one way of doing it is, as you go through this program and as you look at your experiences, and either the experiences that you've had in the past or the experiences that you'll have while you work in organizations during this program, think about what you find confusing, dysfunctional, fascinating, or bizarre, things that you don't understand. And get excited about those and start thinking more about those. And if there's questions that these these behaviors make you want to study more, that would very well be a topic, a good topic for your thesis. What I did when I entered into organizational psychology, I had kind of like a master notebook where whenever I came across an interesting idea that I thought might be relevant for some type of for a thesis or dissertation or research paper, I just kept a note all the way through, and I still do that, and so I've got plenty of topics to write and research about. So it'd be a good idea to start writing down the topics and the key ideas that really interest you. And you can, when the time comes to choose a topic for your thesis, you'll have some pieces to build with and to go further with.